claims, but there are a lot of transactions that are recorded off balance sheet, not on balance sheet. But regulators mainly look at two main financial statements. One, balance sheet. A balance sheet of any institution represents all the decisions that has been taken within 1 year period of time, because it says as of December 31st. Therefore, when you look at the balance sheet, you can see what is the level of cash they are holding, what is the amount of assets they are holding, and etc. So we can see the decisions. The outcome of those decisions, or results of those decisions, can be seen in the income statement. So if those decisions that were made correctly, that are recorded on the balance sheet, there must be a positive profit on the income statement. If there is a net loss on the income statement, we can conclude that those guys, which is board of directors and other top management, have gone wrong in making decisions. But as I said, that is observable from the balance sheet and the income statement and other financial statements. But what if there are huge transactions, huge number of transactions that are not recorded there? So we cannot really talk about a high degree or high level of transparency. And of course, on top of that, regulators' minds were also confused about this shadow banking thing. They were really seeing it developing, but they couldn't really figure it out. How will it end up? They were seeing, because there are a lot of discussion, a lot of debate on this regulatory approach on shadow banking, they couldn't do much, and at the end of the day, they failed. They failed. And that's the reason why we came to 2007 and 2009. 2007 and 2009 have been known by the subprime crisis. Subprime is just a tiny name of one of those mortgage fund activities. But behind that, there were huge funds, huge amount of liquidity, even what caused some countries to go bankrupt, like Iceland, if I'm not mistaken. Can you imagine? The amount of liquidity, the amount of funds, trillions of dollars. Trillions of dollars, okay? And they were all in shade, not clearly observable, and more important than that, even if you can observe some of it, it was not really measurable. Now, in macroeconomic settings of pre-crisis period, there was an excessive liquidity creation by main central banks. All those central banks, main central banks like ECB, Fed, and other large central banks were creating excessive liquidity. So there was too much money in the markets. Global savings glut, that is to say, savings rate in countries were rising, people were saving. Therefore, that caused real interest rates to fall, as well as nominal interest rates. And I have to explain here that when interest rates decline, banking sector faces with problems in profitability. Interest rates now are increasing in Turkey, as you probably guys are also observing. Banks are pretty happy because it gets easier to make more profit. When interest rate margins are low, it becomes really tough and difficult for any banking institution to make profit. So we can clearly say that excessive liquidity, excessive savings, or too much money coming from also current account surpluses of China, Japan, and Germany, billions of dollars into the market on top of excessive liquidity and savings, caused interest rates to decline. And in that case, what banks faced was a very serious profitability problem. They were having very serious problems in making profits. Okay? So, if we go back from here, as some authors argue that there is a demand for shadow banking, therefore it can be called market-based banking, it just comes from this argument that, interest rates were tremendously low, and it was too difficult to make profits. So how can I make profit if I cannot make it from traditional banking activities? I will try to figure out or find other ways that I can invest the funds I have and make profit. And if I try to do that within the traditional bank, regulators and supervisors will not allow me to do so. Then I have to find a channel through which I can put those funds into something else which will bring in profit. And that is the shadow banking. That is the shadow banking. And the macroeconomic setting or global setting with number 4, current account deficits of many other countries like the US and UK, apart from, other than from China, Japan, and Germany, and great moderation of low and stable global inflation rate and high and stable growth rate. So that's what the world looked like while shadow banking was rising. Okay? Too much money coming from liquidity creation of central banks, additional savings, current account surpluses. Okay? And all that money was looking for channels to earn some yield. And traditional banking was limited by the activities that is defined by the regulatory authorities. So they had to find a way to invest that money. And unfortunately, globalization made it worse because everybody is a kind of interdependent in this global world. And when it comes to finance or monetary channels, those channels are very large and very clean. No obstacles, no barriers or anything. Capital flows from one place to anywhere freely. Therefore, it is very easy to transfer any amount of saving, any amount of capital from one place to another and invest in anything else you wish to invest. And at this level, I will leave it here. When I read the literature and the debate on this shadow banking, I start thinking about what may cause, or how did this really happen, and what was the case in different countries. So I thought that, the level of financial development in one country may be a distinguishing characteristic, or the level of financial development, in more technical terms, may be explanatory for the improvement in the volume of shadow banking. So, shall we expect to see, or my question is that why did 2007 and 9 came out from US and not from Angola? That was my question actually. Not from Angola, but from US. What's the difference in financial sense between Angola and US? It's the level of financial development. So I thought that, I will take a look at that. I checked the literature. There is no empirical evidence that links financial development to shadow banking. But intuitively, I can see a link. I think there is a link, but as I said, this is a work in progress. I couldn't complete my analysis yet, but I will share you my first observations with you. Therefore, I believe that without a certain level of financial development, shadow banking does not develop. Even when all microeconomic and macroeconomic settings are there. So if we take some countries back in prior or pre-2007 and 2009, shadow banking will not develop in those countries if their level of financial development does not reach to a threshold. That's my intuition. That was my intuition when I start working on this thing. To test to see if financial development is related to shadow banking, we looked at two groups of countries as developed and developing. Sample is composed of 26 in total and 13 developing and 13 developed countries. We collect data on the volume of the shadow banking activities and then the level of the financial development, and we said that OFI, other financial institution, is a proxy for volume of the financial shadow banking, and we have the figures for the financial development, and we start looking at the data. All countries, 26 sample for 14 years, this is what it looks like. We have the financial development on the vertical axis, other financial institutions or shadow banking volume on the horizontal axis, and as you can see that there is a positive relationship between the two. Although most observations falls close to zero. But as I said, this is whole countries sample, 26 for 14 years. Then I cut it into two as developed and developing, and this is what I have. So in developed economies, as you can see, that relationship is still there, but not in developing economies. So even when we look at the when we look at the developing economies, we can clearly see that financial development may increase, but the shadow banking volume does not, except for few observations there. Okay? I think that, as I said, I haven't complete this research yet, but I think that there may be a threshold of the level of